Is Scream 4 the best Scream sequel? Let's find out. Let's get talking about it.
Just some scary movie.
Get inside! Get inside! Get inside! Leave. Whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you strange.
See people. They don't know they're dead.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to our brand new fourth entry in the Scream review series. Today we're looking at Scream 4, released in the year 2011, directed by Scre4m and written by Kevin Williamson. The film follows Sidney Prescott as she decides to return to her hometown in Woodsboro. Eventually, when things seem to be normal, a killer decides to dress up in a ghost face costume and run around and kill a bunch of people, aiming for Sidney's family, creating a real-life remake. The film, of course, stars Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, with Emma Roberts, and Roger L. Jackson. So, is this actually the best Scream sequel? Or is this at the lower end of the stick for the franchise? Let's find out, get to the review. Let's go. Please let me know, did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you use okay? Did you love it? Please let me know what your thoughts are on Scream 4 in the comments. Also, all the reviews I do are spoilers, so if you're not okay with spoilers, go watch the movie, then come back and watch this video. Also, I have a lot of content on my channel. Check those out once this video is done, and we are kicking on things with the positives. Okay, so initially when I watched Scream 4, back when I was like 9 or 10, I enjoyed it, but I thought it was one of the weaker Scream movies. Of course, I didn't really know much back then, but yeah, that's what I thought. And then, since then, I never rewatched it, but I was watching like reviews on the film and all that, and I just sort of got on this train of just loving Scream 4 and saying it's like the best Scream sequel without actually giving it a proper rewatch. So finally, last night, I sat down, rewatched Scream 4, and yeah, this is probably the best Scream sequel. I freaking love this movie. I love this film. So let's just jump into the positives here. So, yeah, alright, so my first positive for the film is the setting. I love that we returned to Woodsboro. I always miss it. I was convinced that Scream 2 took place in Woodsboro, but actually, apparently, it takes place in Ohio. Okay. And then, of course, Scream 3 is in LA. So it's been a while, and there's a huge gap between Scream 3 and Scream 4. Thank goodness I wasn't alive then, because that would just be torture just waiting 11 years for a new Scream movie. Man, that would just be torture. But anyway, yeah, I love the setting of the film. I love Woodsboro, and I love that we return there. So I think that's just a great idea. I love that. This movie has a great soundtrack, you know. I can't help to, bring on some moves. Nah, I'm just kidding. But, yeah, I really enjoy the soundtrack here. I think it's pretty good. I love how this film, really pokes fun at remakes. Where a lot of remakes came out then, you have the Friday the 13th remake, which I personally love. You have the Nightmare on Elm Street one, which a lot of people hate. You have, Rob Zombie's Halloween films. You have a lot of remakes that came out then. And I love how Scream 4 is really poking fun at those, taking remake tropes in the film. A lot of characters act like characters from the remakes. Even visually looks like that. We'll get into that later. But yeah, so I think that's kind of funny and kind of cool what they do there. So yeah, I really enjoy that. I love how Scream 4 is really similar to the original Scream in terms of characters. And it kind of brings me back to nostalgia. I'm just saying. We'll get into that in a sec. So yeah, those are my smaller positives. Now let's get to the big stuff, starting off with the cast here, the characters. We love them. So, of course, you have our original characters. You have Neve Campbell here as Sidney Prescott. You have David Arquette here as Dewey, and Courtney Cox back here as Gail. We have our original trio here. And they're all really good in this movie, but really what shines here is the new characters. Of course, we have Jill here, played by Emma Roberts, who I absolutely love. She is a top 5 character for me in this franchise. I love her. And we'll get to the twist later. But anyway, her character before that's really good. You know, she's kind of like our main character here. And like I said, I love how the characters in Scream 4 are kind of like similar to the original characters. Like, Jill is kind of like Sidney Prescott, even though, yeah, I mean, she's her cousin. But she's really similar to Sidney Prescott here because they're all in high school. So, yeah, I think that's really cool. And I just really enjoy her character. You know, she's kind of like this sweet, chill girl. And there's nothing too much to her until like the end. But yeah, she's a really enjoyable character to be around. You have Kirby, who's kind of like Tatum. She's Jill's best friend, and Kirby, she's an enjoyable character. I mean, she has some funny lines, and she's an enjoyable character. Yeah, she's a great character to be around. Come on, she's a great character. I love her, and it's lines like this that make me laugh.
Connor, not Kirby, what's your favorite scary movie?
Bambi.
Great character. You have Robbie and Charlie, who are kind of like more similar to Randy, but like, you know, they have like Charlie especially kind of has elements of Stu, and yeah, I really enjoy that. You know, especially Robbie. He's a really funny guy. He's the horror movie nerd, and yeah, he's a fun character. And I love how it's like live stream like this movie. I mean, I can't really be talking, but like still. I think this movie is really ahead of its time. Like, I don't think anybody was live streaming in 2011, so yeah, no, that was kind of interesting. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Robbie. Charlie, mediocre character, we'll get to him in a sec here, but yeah, you have him. Who else? I'm just trying to think. You have Trevor here, who's like Jill's ex-boyfriend. You know, he's kind of like similar to Billy. You know, he kind of like gives off these like more vicious, intense vibes. And yeah, so I enjoy his character. So you have characters like these. We get introduced to Officer Judy. She's really funny. I love how in the entire film, she's always trying to flirt with Dewey, and it's just hilarious. Like, she has like so much beef with Gale. It's so funny. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite part of Judy. So yeah, you get introduced to so many lovable, great characters that are just amazing in this movie. So love the characters in this film. Now moving on to the kills, the brutality, the intense chase sequences. That's what we all come to a Scream movie for. And I think Scream 4 probably has the best kills and the best chase sequences maybe of the entire franchise. Like, Scream 6 definitely is competing for like the more gory, brutal kills with Scream 4. But man, does Scream 4 go all out. I mean, you have the opening sequence, which is a very controversial opening sequence. I personally never liked it. You know, I was always like on this train of hating on that opening sequence. I was like, you know, what the heck are we doing here? But after rewatching it, I kind of like that opening sequence. You know, you have, like, I never realized this before, but basically, where it's like doing the fake outs where it's like these characters die, and then actually, nope, it's these characters watching TV, and then this character dies, and nope, it's actually these characters watching TV. That got repetitive and annoying when I initially saw it for the first time. After rewatching it, though, I see what they're doing here. Because basically there's an 11-year gap between Scream 3 and Scream 4. So it's showcasing like what the Stab franchise has become and what's going on with that franchise. So I think that's just really cool. Kind of brings back nostalgia. I think that's really neat what they do there. And then of course you have the chase sequence with Marnie Cooper and Jenny Randall. I don't know why I remember their last names, but yeah, so you have their chase sequence. Marnie off-screen kill, no one cares about that. And then you have Jenny's chase sequence, which is pretty good. You know, that sequence is intense. You know, you're gripping your chair. Really enjoy that. She ends up getting stabbed in the freaking back, and she's like crawling down the stairs. She tries to escape through the garage, and the garage like basically like clamps down on her back or whatever, and like kind of like crushing her. And then she gets dragged back, and you know, we get a title card from that. So opening sequence, I like more and more and more every time I watch that sequence. So I really enjoy that. You have other kills. You have Olivia's death, which is the best death in the entire franchise. Like, I'm just going to come out and say that. I think everyone can agree with me. This is a great kill. It's very gruesome and brutal and just a nasty kill. Like she gets stabbed like everywhere, and then she gets her stomach cut open. Like when Sydney finds her, oh my gosh! And I've never really noticed this, but I just realized it now. So, man, I was like complaining last night when I was watching this film. Like I was yelling at the screen. Jill and Kirby are terrible friends to Olivia. Like she is sitting there, just chilling, and then she starts to get stabbed, and they're just standing at their window watching and like screaming at the killer, "Stop! You think the killer is gonna stop? No way! You need to run over there." And actually, I think they would have had time to run over there and save her. Instead, they don't. Like, there's two of them. They could probably take Ghostface. I know they don't want to die, but still. Even Sydney, who comes, like, way later, tries to save her, and she doesn't make it because she's too late. It's all because of Jill and Kirby. Like, you have to go save her, which I know Jill can't. We all know why. But Kirby, like, she could have fooled them to go save her. So, that's always a thing I find absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, Olivia's death, all-timer. You have Rebecca's death, who the most annoying and insufferable character of the entire franchise. Thank goodness. I wouldn't say of the entire franchise. Back up. I would say of the movie. I wouldn't say of the entire franchise. There's a couple more annoying characters. I do find her kind of funny. There's some lines of hers that are just so absurd that I love them. So she has some funny moments, but she's still really annoying. And thank goodness she died in like the first half of the film, because man, I could not take her for much longer at all. Her death sequence, isn't the greatest. The chase scene is really good. I really like that. I love how brutal and like creepy Ghostface is in this film. Like all the phone calls and the messages and all that are like, he doesn't even like fool around or beat around the bush. He just gets right into it. He's like, "I will cut you open," or whatever. Or, "I will be happy to put you in the hospital, in the morgue," or whatever. Like, it's so good. It is so good. I love how creepy and just brutal this Ghostface is. So I really enjoyed that. Rebecca's death, pretty good. It's okay. The chase sequence is great. I love that. It's really creepy. It's unsettling. But then when she dies, it's just like a stab to the stomach, and then she gets chucked off the building. And I'm sorry, but we have seen a character getting yanked off the building or a house or whatever 3 freaking times. Cece definitely was the best. That was the kill that started the whole trend that Scream just kept doing every single movie. Tyson's death is definitely the worst of that. But, Rebecca's is still really good. It's not as good as Cece because she started it, and that one's just the best. But Rebecca's death, still decent. She gets freaking chucked off a hospital building. Pretty insane. So you have that. You have Perkins' death, which is just a brutal kill. He freaking gets stabbed in the forehead. That gets me every time. It makes me flinch. Like, it is just, I really feel that kill every time I watch the film. Man, it's brutal. You have Kate's death, which, just when you think about it, Jill killed her mom just to get what she wants. It's insane. When you think about it, it's crazy. But it happened, so. Yeah, kind of a sad death, if you think about it. So you have that. I'm just trying to think more kills. But yeah, I'd say the best kills are definitely the opening sequence. Of course, Olivia's death, best kill of the franchise. Rebecca's chase sequence is pretty good. Perkins' death, oh my gosh, really brutal. Cade's death, you get some brutal kills here. Robbie's death, so he gets stabbed in the stomach. That death sequence is funny though, because he's screaming out, no, I'm gay, don't kill me. When literally he was trying to hit on Olivia back in the early stages of the film. So I find that absolutely hilarious. So he's screaming out, "I'm gay, that's against the rules, you can't kill me." So that's just really funny. Anyway, so the kills and all that, brutal. And of course you get the amazing twist of Jill and Charlie being the killers. Charlie, like I said, he is a mediocre character. He's just Jill's pet. Of course, Jill's going to turn on him. He was a dumb character to begin with. I just wasn't really a fan of him from beginning to end. So he's just there. He's one of the weaker Ghostfaces for sure. But Jill, arguably the best Ghostface there's ever been. Emma Roberts' performance is amazing. She's brutal. She will do anything to get what she wants. And yeah, she just doesn't care if you live or die. She'll kill anyone. She freaking killed her mom. She almost killed Sydney. It's just wild. And it's crazy because she other than like Sydney, she was kind of like our main character, and I kind of wish they made her more of like a final girl in the film, because then it would be even more crazy that a final girl, the character we've all come to love, is the killer. Like, that would just be insane. And that's kind of what they did here. So kudos to Scre4m for doing that. Like, Scre4m has balls. So, yeah. And then what's cool about it is she, she tortures herself, which is just a brutal scene to watch. And then after she actually gets away with it, she goes to the hospital, and we actually leave the finale setting. We thought, it would end in the house. It does not. She goes to the hospital. So that's just a great sequence. Unfortunately, she does die. I would have liked her to see her get away. Like, maybe she goes to prison, or maybe she just escapes. Like, I don't know. I think that would just be really cool. It'd be kind of crazy if in Scream 7, Jill is the killer. I know there's actually rumors right now that Scream 7's killers have been leaked. I'm going to be staying off the internet. Unfortunately, I'm going on a trip. I mean, not unfortunately. I'm very excited. I'm leaving in like 2 days. But, yeah, like, I'm staying off the internet. So I'm going to be there. So for a while, I won't be able to see Scream 7 until I get back. And that'll be like early March. I'm only gone for a week. But, man, a week? I'm really staying off the internet, guys, so I really don't want that spoiled for me. So, if I do, I'm going to be pissed. So, but anyway, yeah, Jill's twist, absolutely incredible. Arguably the best twist of the entire franchise, or maybe ever. Like, I'm not even joking. She could probably be, like, top 10 twists of all time. Incredible twist. It always has your jaw on the ground the first time you watch that, so, yeah. Now let's move on to the negative. Now, I only have a couple negatives for the film, but my first one is the color tone of the film. I think this is all a negative for all of us. This movie, like I said, was really poking fun at remakes, and it tried really hard because all remakes kind of have this like color grading tone to it. So Scream 4 decided, let's just do the same thing. And like, if you look at all the other Scream movies, they look great, and then you look at Scream 4, and it's like this really like dark color grade to it or whatever visually. So yeah, I'm just not a fan of that. When I look at this film, it looks like a really cheap, low-budget horror remake. And I'm sorry, but all the Scream movies, not the third movie, but all the Scream movies basically, kick all the other horror movies' butts. So yeah, just looking at Scream 4 though, like it really visually looks cheap, even though it's not. It does. So I'm just not a fan of the color tone of the film visually. My other problem is the waste of all of our returning OG characters. Even though they do have their moments, I found them to be overshadowed by the new characters, which I'm not, like, absolutely pissed about. If the new characters sucked, this movie wouldn't be very good. But the new characters, luckily, are really good characters. I really enjoy being around them. So, yeah, that's fine. I just wish we got more of the OG characters. I mean, you have Sydney. She returns, and for, like, majority of the film, she's not really doing much. Until the end of the movie, when she does have her moments to shine, when the twist happens, she gets some fun moments when she gets to kill Jill and all that. But still, Sydney doesn't really have much to do in this film. Dewey, he's the chief and all that, but still doesn't really have much to do in this movie. And you have Gail, which in the first half of the film, she's kind of doing some stuff. She's trying to work together with Robbie and Charlie, which is just hilarious. And she goes to that maze or whatever, the party, and she sets up the cameras and all that. There's a pretty good chase sequence with her and Ghostface, and Ghostface stabs her. I thought she was gonna die there the first time I watched this. But yeah, so you had that. Yeah, so I just think the OG characters are a little bit wasted, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I'm gonna give Scream 4 a 9 out of 10. I thought this movie is absolutely amazing. It is an excellent horror film. I love the setting of the movie. I love the soundtrack. I love how this movie's poking fun at remakes. I love the nostalgic vibes it gives off. I love how brutal and creepy Ghostface is. I love the characters, the new characters especially. I love the kills and the brutality of this movie. It's really gory and nasty. I love it. You get some great chase sequences. The intensity is really ramped up. This movie contains probably the best twist of the entire franchise, and maybe top 10 twists of all time. This movie had my jaw on the floor the first time I watched it. Yeah, there were a couple problems. I think visually the movie looks really cheap. I'm not a fan of the dark color grade to it. I'm also just not a fan of how they waste, like Dewey, Gale, Sydney. Not the biggest fan of that. But anyway, that's my review for Scream 4. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys for my review of Scream 2022, Scream 5.
I know this one, you're not supposed to say that, are you?